Hello, this is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing a video overview of the ETFs. The reason we look at the ETFs is, and this is a fact, leading groups produce leading stocks, and leading stocks produce leading groups. By quickly scanning the ETFs, we can see where there is strength, areas to potentially delve deeper into to make money, but also areas to avoid, save us money. So let's go in and take a look at them. This is the IBD 50 ETF, and you can see that it's rallied up, approaching the 50-day. We would like to see it push over the 50-day with volume. This is an investing maxim, and it's simple, but it works. The air is better above a 50-day moving average line. The air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. There's where the real power is. We'll have to watch this and see what happens. Not much here at this point in time, but it is improving, so that's good. Let's move on. Bitcoin ETF. I put this on here as a service, just what it's doing. It had a move here. It's chopping around. It needs to get over the 50-day. There's not a lot of accumulation in this at this point in time, so be cautious. Gold Miners, basing here, as you can see, on the rising 21 EMA. By the way, this is the 200-day simple, the 50-day simple, the 21 exponential, the 8-period exponential. This is resting right now on the 21 exponential. There was some accumulation here, but a little bit of distribution also. What does it need to do? It needs to lift off. The gold GDX needs to lift off the 21-day with volume. That's it. And until it does, leave it alone. And it would be nicer if it would form a better base. That's all. Gold, still below the 21-day. Decent day on Friday, but it's below the 21-day. I said this at IBD meetups for years. The air is better above a rising 50-day. The air is better above the rising 21-day. Let's see if we can get this over the 21-day. That would be nice to see on GLD. But if you noticed, there's not a lot of accumulation in here recently. Look at the green bars, the green volume bars. They're just not a lot. So it needs to show some power on GLD. Continue onwards. IBB, biotech, there's nothing here. I mean, it lifted up Friday. It's in a downtrend. Until it bases and starts to lift, move on. There's better places to put your money. That's it. That's simple. Oil and gas, below the 50-day, not much power, leave it alone. You can always see the name up here. Software technology, it's still, it's at the falling 21-day. I'd like to see this start to lift. Be very objective here. You're not going to see this chart pattern in any book saying, these are the kinds of things that you look for to buy. It'll eventually turn and we'll be ready. But what does it say? Be a little cautious with software. There we go. Medicine, I think they need some medicine. It's below the falling 50-day, not a lot of power, be careful. Aerospace and defense, now this one looks decent. You could punch up ITA and find out what their top 10 holdings. Potential, maybe Boeing's one of them. There you go. That's the work that we do at Mission Winners. ITA, now, you can say, well, it's a little bit extended here. It is, okay? But it is showing strength, so delve deeper into that group. There you go. U.S. home construction, gaps up, runs up, and closes near the lows on a pickup in volume, back below the 50-day. This needs to get back over the 50-day. Until it does, be cautious. With home builders, S&P growth picking up a little bit, IVW, push back through the 50-day. That's nice to see. Now, what does that say? Hey, maybe start looking into some S&P 500 growth stocks. There you go, connecting the dot. Small caps, still lagging, and look what it did. It gapped up and it closed near the lows of the day. Slight pickup in volume. It needs to get over the 50-day. I said this to the meetups for years. The air is better above a rising 50-day. It's kind of simple, but it does work. Makes us money and keeps us out of trouble. Real estate, lagging, nothing to do with it. And look at how it closed on Friday. Nothing to do with it. Move on. Transportation, no real power there. Stay away from transport stocks. Airlines picking up a little bit, but not a lot of power. You might look into some airline stocks, but there's just not a lot of power. There we go. Mid-cap picked up, gapped up and closed near the lows. Slight pickup in volume, needs to start showing a little bit more power. Here's the plus, though. It is above the rising 50-day again. There's normally a start there. Looking at some mid-cap stocks. There we go. Oil services, stay away. Do a compare and contrast. You say, well, that's at the 50-day. This is below all the moving averages. Leave it alone. What's it tell us? Stay away from oil service stocks. Energy services. Done. Pharmaceuticals, That's below the falling 50-day. There's not a lot of power until it gets over the 50-day, which is the green line. Be cautious with pharmaceuticals. Isn't that good to know? I think it's great. It's good to know, again, things to look into and things to stay away from, things to avoid. It narrows down our focus list. It narrows down our opportunity, what we're looking for. Let's get the best of the best. QLD picked up a little bit, but I'd like to see it get over the 50-day, okay? NASDAQ 100 ETF. QQQ, this one approaches and touched the 50-day. That's nice to see. Go back to QLD, still lagging, as I pointed out. Like to see it push over the 50-day. QQQ, this is the one that's non-leveraged, all right, at the 50-day. Perhaps it'll push through the 50-day, and that would be good. And what would that tell us? Hey, look into some NASDAQ 100 stocks. There you go, folks. There's power in doing that. Systemization. Retail, it's still on sale. There's nothing there. Okay, I'm sorry I had to say it, but there's no real power there. Until it starts showing some power, be careful. What does that tell us? The consumers aren't buying a lot of retail. They're not buying a lot of retail stocks. Silver, there's no power. There's not a lot of power there. So just pass on silver. Steel, yeah, but God, there's a ton of overhead. It lifted, but it didn't do it on much volume. I'd be kind of cautious with steel stocks, and still it shows a little more power. SMH picking up a little bit, but it needs to get over the 50-day. All right, SMH pushes over the 50-day. Semiconductors, something to look into. It will need power. You can say, why do you see it? Well, look at the red selling bars. Look at that red selling bar. It versus the up bars. The buying bars don't have the power of the selling bars. It needs to show some power. There you go. That's a good lesson right there for you. Let's move on. Spiders pushing just a hair over the 50-day, closed a little bit below it. Higher low setup. This low is higher than this low. That's a positive. There's been a lot of distribution in this thing. Look at all those red volume bars. That's been telling you to be careful. And that's why we have been admission winners. We weren't getting chewed up on a bunch of stuff. So now it's starting to pick up. What's it need to do? Push over the 50-day with volume. That would be good. It could show the start of a new trend. Every trend's got to start someplace. Continue onwards. SSO. Here's the spiders again at the 50-day. SSO a little bit below the 50-day. It also lifted up, but not on a lot of volume. We need to see it over the 50-day. That's the bottom line. And a good push through the 50-day. Solar, gosh, there's just so much overhead supply on this. I mean, look at this. Look at all that overhead supply. Well, what does that tell you? There's better places to put your money right now. It's picking up. But look, oh, it picked up here and they took it down. Oh, look, it's going here. It reverses down. Oh, this is it. This is the one. And they take it down. So there's overhead supply. Be careful with solar. Be careful with solar stocks. That's good to know. Let's move on. Small caps rallied up, okay, but notice where it closed. Closed down in bottom third of its range on a pickup in volume. What does it tell us? They're not really launching into the small cap stocks too much. Eventually they probably will, and we'll be ready. I'd like to see a push over the 50-day with volume. That's all. Is there much to do with it right now? No, there's not. Here's the beautiful part. It's good to know what to look for to possibly buy. It's almost as good to know areas to avoid. It improves our focus on what remains. Let's move on. Here we go. Oil, there's no power there. Stay away. Biotech picking up. Look what it does. It rallies right up near the 50-day and reverses down. I'll say it again. You will dramatically improve your investing results focusing on things above a rising 50-day. I really mean it. Yeah, for those that don't know, I was a sole supporter of a family of 6. We lived off investing profits forever. Okay? I had to get it right. Okay? No wealthy relatives, no inheritance. Okay? I'm not complaining. It was just, that's the way it is. That was life. Same with probably most of you. Okay? So we wait for things to happen, and we're always prepared. Home builders picked up. But again, look, it gaps up, it runs up, and closes near the lows of the day on a pickup in volume. There's still sellers there. They're really not plowing into the home building stocks. Continue onwards. Materials picked up a little bit, but still below the 50-day. Let's get it over the 50-day. Look at the difference here. It's just chopping around. Watch this. It's just chopping around. It's just chopping around. It's just chopping around. Oh, look. It pushes through the 50-day on a pickup in volume. Finally. And it closes strong on that bar with good volume. You can say, oh, it did here too, Pat. Look at the volume on that bar. That's a priceless lesson right there, folks. Not a lot of power there. This bar had power. Lifted through there, and it was the start of a trend. There you go. There is a good lesson for everybody. And again, that's what we teach in Mission Winners, to help people. Let's move on. Excuse me. Here we go. Communications needs to push through the 50-day with volume. Notice this. Here's a good lesson. It went up, and it went up on steadily decreasing volume. It's running out of power. Needs to get over the 50-day with volume. There you go. Till it does, stay away. XLE fell on heavy volume. It's just got support here on the 50-day. Perhaps it'll lift off, okay? But again, there's some overhead supply in here, folks. And note the red bars versus the green bars. What do you see? The volume on the selling is much higher than the volume on the buying. That's good to know. Financials needs to get back over the 50-day. And again, it's got to do with volume. And you can see there's been some distribution in it. And again, folks, please don't think, oh, I'm all bearish. I'm not. There's a great quote. I've said it before. I never met a wealthy pessimist. Hey, opportunity. We're here to find things. We're here to make money. Being negative ain't going to do it for us. All right. I'm not saying ignore bad stuff. No, take note of it, but look for opportunity. It's what we do. Industrial's picking up a little bit, needs to get over the 50-day. And again, you can see there's been some distribution in there for about the last month. Move on. Technology's picking up, but it needs to show some real power. Overall, there's just been some distribution. Look at the selling volume bar. Need to see that pick up some. Be careful until then. That's technology. And then we go with consumer staples, picking up a little bit. It's above the 50-day. Okay, that's good to see. Kind of a cup with handle here. We'll draw this for you. There you go. Needs to pick up there, but it's kind of loose too, okay? And note, there was serious selling volume on that bar, okay? So just things to be aware of, but it has improved a little bit. You could punch up XLP, see what their top holdings are. Maybe there's an opportunity there. If this takes out these tops, there could be an opportunity with XLP. But notice, it's kind of loose here, all right? So be careful with that. Continue onwards. Healthcare, stay away. Done. It's below the moving averages. You can see this. Maybe it'll turn, but for right now, a lot of distribution. Just got to wait on healthcare. Consumer discretionary. Rallies up, backs right off. Gaps up, runs up, and reverses down. There's not a lot of conviction in consumer discretionary stocks. There you go. Move onward. And again, please note, I'm not being negative. No way. I'm just pointing out what's going on. Continue onward. Metals and mining picking up a little bit. Now look, that's got some accumulation there and there. It's kind of loose though. It's not a tight pattern, okay? But it is improving a little bit. There could be a spot across there. We'll have to see. There is a little bit more of accumulation in there. Till then, though, there was a lot of distribution. There we go. Power for us. Oil and gas, there's nothing there. Look, falls on volume, goes up, not much. Falls again. Look at the selling volume there. What does that tell us? Oil and gas, pretty much stay away from it for right now, folks. That's good to know. Let's move on. Here we go. Retail picking up, but it's below the 50-day with not a lot of up power. Not a lot of up volume buying. There you go. Software still lagging. I mean, look at that. I'll slide this over here. Down. It's just sloppy. There's not a lot of power in the software stocks. It eventually will turn though. Please know that. We don't get all negative. We just look at what is. And things can change. Things can change in a matter of days. And we're always ready. The MAXLIST stocks are the big institutional stocks. Here's Apple. Apple had earnings and it gapped up big. That was a big catalyst for the market move, folks. Here's why. Apple is in the NASDAQ. Apple is in the S&P 500. Apple is in the Dow. All right, it's price weighted. For those that don't know, the Dow and Jones Industrial Average is only 30 stocks, and it's price weighted. All right, I'm not knocking it. I'm just pointing out what is. Most people don't know that. Okay, Apple is a component of the Dow. Notice here, it gapped up near the highs and then faded off the highs. Told us there's a seller up there still. Okay, and you look at the weekly, there is some selling. There's overhead supply, but it's a start. I'll take it. It is a start. Be nice if it bases a little bit and then starts to march higher. It is a start. So is it going to continue? I don't forecast. I don't know. Nobody knows the future. When we accept the fact we don't know the future, we see the future more clearly. And that helps us. Let's continue onwards here. I don't want to take too much of your time. Amazon picking up here a little bit. By the way, remember, we've got earnings coming on things, folks. Be aware of that. Be aware of earnings. Gapped up and faded and closed below where it opened. Also, when it gapped up, not a lot of volume power here, but it is improving. That's a plus. They had earnings, yes. It is improving, and that's a plus. Continue onwards. Alibaba. We go, oh, it looks good on the daily chart. Yes. This would be the best thing this could do. Base here for a couple of days and then take off. All right. Also, resistance right here on the weekly. Needs to take that out. There we go. There's Alibaba. And it's a good start. Some improvement there, but a lot of overhead supply. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Look at all that right there. So we'll watch and see what happens. It is some improvement, though. I like that. BIDU, same situation, some improvement. As you can see in the chart, these are like sister stocks. There's BABA and BIDU. Picking up, it's near old resistance. There's no real clean entry on it. This was what would be nice. And we always have a plan at Mission Winners. It goes sideways, maybe forms a handle up here. I'm not saying it will. I don't know the future. Nobody knows the future. Anybody say, well, this is what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. All right. We just get in line with what is, and that helps us. But at Mission Winners, through studying charts, we know what to look for and apply it. And we let price and volume guide us. Form a little handle here and take off. That would be nice. Here we go and back. Here we go. Google lifted up. Okay, right here, gaps up on earnings, pulls back on decreasing volume, and now it's starting to pick up again. And notice this is a telltale sign of possible strength. It picked up and a slight volume pickup, a little bit more up volume coming into it. Bouncing off the ADMA, that could be a candidate going across these tops on Google. Something to watch. MasterCard, look at the compare and contrast. Oh, okay, I can kind of see that. It's trending up here. Look, it's trending up. MasterCard, there's nothing there. Oh, it's going to bounce here. I don't want to play the maybe game. Why not buy strength? Buy stuff that's already strong. It will improve your investing results, okay? And yeah, I lived off the money for years. That was the only source of income we had. So there we go. Meta, picking up a little bit, but look at all the overhead supply. Stay away from that. Most people don't know what overhead supply is. It's people that bought it up there, and some of them are still in it. And so every time it goes up a little bit, the people that still own it go, thank heaven, I'm a little bit closer. I'm not losing as much money. I'm going to sell some. Then it moves up a little bit more. Other people say, oh, it's not as bad a loss as it used to be. I'm going to sell some. That's called overhead supply. And this has overhead supply. So just give it time. Let's give it time. Nothing to do with it right now. Microsoft's, this is called wide and loose. This is another very important lesson. Wide and loose chart patterns indicate high investor emotions. High investor emotions and good investing are mutually exclusive. Kind of loose here, be careful with that. What's it need to do? Well, the best thing it could do is push over the 50-day. All right, and that's a ways off. And again, it's whipping around here bad. Okay, be careful with that. You get caught on the wrong side and you can get hurt. That's why at Mission Winners, we like clean and simple flat basis. It's the best setup to make money. You see this on the weekly? I could go back here, and here it is on the daily. Right here. Weekly, daily, clean and simple flat base. And when it pushed through there, yeah, we bought that. That's it. Simple, simple. Focus on that and you will dramatically improve your investing results. And I will say it again, from a psychological perspective, there's a reason why. If it's a simple base that's easy to see, does that not increase the possibilities that other people see it too? Yes. Does that not increase the possibilities that they will buy also? Yes. And isn't that what we want? I don't want to be the lone wolf. You know what's not a good feeling? Is, oh, this is good, this is good. And you buy it, and it's like nobody else bought it. And I used to tell people at the IBD meetups, they'd say, yeah, you know what that says? It says, we're the only people in the world that saw it. So get in line where the money's going. That'll help you. That is measured by good price action backed by volume. Here we go. Good lesson for us. Netflix is awfully sloppy right now. Really nothing to do with it at this point in time. Big gap down on earnings. Okay. Leave it alone. Just wait. NVIDIA. I like this base on NVIDIA right here that it's starting to form. Starts to pick up. We've got price alerts set. Okay. And here's the weekly. By the way, you see that weekly base? I made videos on this. This was owned big time. And the videos were made before it broke out. The week before it broke out, saying, hey, this goes through here. This is good. They all don't do it, but it sure is nice when they do. So this is basing right here. We'll watch and see if the opportunities present itself. It's starting to improve, and it's a back above the 50-day, and that's good. Here's a good investing maxim for all of you, okay? It sounds corny, but it's the honest to goodness truth. The air is better above a rising 50-day moving average line. Just something to think about, something to apply. We do. Here we go. Square or block, there's nothing there. Leave it alone. Tesla. Now look at this Tesla. Ton of overhead supply on the weekly. That's a negative. But I like the news, but I like the reaction to the news. This is a valuable lesson. It is not the news. I'm saying this again. It is not the news. It is the reaction to the news that counts. Well, look at how it closed on that bar. It closed up. That's good. Now it pulled back, but it pulled back on less volume than it went up on. You see these volume bars? We at Mission Winners combine price and volume. Both components really help guide us as far as understanding the charts and the strengths and or weaknesses in the chart. Lift it up, pulling back on decreasing volume. Perhaps this will lift off here. It would be bouncing off the 50-day. It would also be bouncing off the rising ADMA, which is the yellow line. That could be a potential on Tesla. And I got to be really specific here. I'm not saying this is going to go, by the way. Please don't think that. I don't know the future. Anybody, oh, this is going to go. Nobody knows, okay? Well, this is what's going to happen. But through looking at a lot of charts, you develop a foundation on what works more times than not. And that really helps us. So potential here. I like how it closed strong. Now, I'm going to just delve deeper here. If this had closed strong on this bar, but on really low volume, I wouldn't be talking about it. But it closed strong on heavy up volume. There we go. So again, I am not saying it's going to go up, but more times than not it does. And that's the edge that we can use. Visa, there's nothing there. Look at the compare and contrast with others. There's nothing there. Just leave it alone.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.